Madhuri is an elephant. She's also known by the name Mahadevi. For over 30 years, she lived in Kolhapur, a city in Maharashtra. She was a resident of a religious place called the Jain Math. People in Kolhapur loved Madhuri very much. They saw her as a part of their community and their religious life. She was not just an animal to them. She was a symbol of their faith and a familiar presence in their daily lives. Many people had grown up seeing her and felt a deep personal connection to her. This connection made her a very important figure in the local area. Recently, Madhuri became the center of a major news story. The story was about where she should live. An animal rights group called PETA, which stands for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, raised concerns about her health. They said she was not being cared for properly at the Jain Math. This started a long and complicated legal case that went on for years. The case tried to decide what was best for Madhuri. Was it better for her to stay where she was known and loved, or to move to a new place that promised better medical care? This question divided many people and created a lot of strong feelings. The main issue was Madhuri's well-being. According to reports from PETA, Madhuri was suffering from several health problems. They said she had a painful condition called foot rot and other sores on her body. They also said she was lonely because she was kept by herself, without any other elephants for company. This solitary life, they argued, was causing her psychological distress. PETA believed that the Jain Math did not have the right facilities or the expertise to give Madhuri the special care she needed as an aging elephant with serious health issues. They wanted her moved immediately. This situation put two important ideas against each other. On one side was the idea of animal welfare. This idea says that animals should be healthy, safe, and live in a good environment. On the other side was the idea of tradition and community. The people of Kolhapur and the Jain Math felt that Madhuri was a part of their religious traditions, which are protected by law. They believed they were taking care of her in a loving way that respected her place in their culture. The conflict was about whether modern animal science or long-standing community tradition should have the final say in Madhuri's future. The decision to move Madhuri was not made quickly or easily. It was the result of a long legal battle that reached the highest courts in India. The case was first heard by the Bombay High Court. The judges looked at all the evidence presented to them. PETA showed the court reports and pictures that they said proved Madhuri was in poor health. They highlighted her foot problems and the small space she lived in. The court had to carefully consider the information from both sides. It was a very serious matter with significant consequences for the elephant and the community. The court listened to the arguments from the Jain Math as well. The Math argued that Madhuri was a cherished part of their religious practices. They said that moving her would interfere with their freedom of religion. However, the court found that the evidence of Madhuri's poor health was very strong. The judges believed that her living conditions were absolutely dismal. They concluded that the elephant's right to be free from suffering was more important in this case than the religious claims of the Math. The court ruled that animal welfare must come first, setting a powerful precedent for future cases involving animals in religious institutions. Based on these findings, the court ordered that Madhuri be moved. The place chosen for her was Vantara, a large private wildlife facility in Jamnagar, Gujarat. This facility is run by a trust associated with Anant Ambani. The court was told that Vantara had state-of-the-art medical facilities and large, natural spaces where Madhuri could live with other elephants. The decision was made with the belief that this new home would provide her with the long-term, specialized care she needed to recover her health and live a better life. The court's order was later supported by the Supreme Court, making the decision final. This legal process shows how complex these issues can be. The courts had to weigh the law, scientific evidence about animal health, and deeply held religious and cultural beliefs. In the end, the judiciary decided that the physical well-being of the animal was the most critical factor. The judges made their choice based on what they believed was in the best interest of Madhuri herself, even though they knew it would be a very unpopular decision in Kolhapur. Their ruling was a clear statement that the welfare of a captive animal is a legal responsibility that cannot be overlooked. The court's decision caused a great deal of sadness and anger in Kolhapur. The local people did not see Madhuri as a mistreated animal. They saw her as a divine figure, a member of their community whom they had cared for over decades. The news that she would be taken away felt like a personal loss to many. They could not understand why an elephant who was so loved had to be moved. For them, the bond they shared with Madhuri was more important than any report. They believed their love and devotion were the best form of care she could receive. In response to the decision, the people of Kolhapur organized large protests. They gathered in the streets to show their opposition to the transfer. They chanted slogans and held signs, pleading for Madhuri to be allowed to stay. The community felt that their voice had not been heard. They believed that outsiders, who did not understand their culture or their relationship with the elephant, were making decisions for them. This feeling of being ignored led to a strong sense of unity among the residents. They were determined to fight for what they believed was right for Madhuri and for their community. The protests took many forms. Besides the street demonstrations, there was also an economic boycott. Many people decided to stop using products and services from companies owned by the Ambani family, since Vantara is their facility. This included a mass campaign where thousands of people ported their Jio SIM cards to other mobile networks. This was their way of sending a clear message that they were unhappy with the decision and with the people involved. It was a powerful, peaceful protest aimed at hitting the companies where it hurt the most, in their profits. The community wanted to show that their feelings could not be dismissed without consequences. The transfer itself was a very emotional event. When the day came to move Madhuri, a large crowd gathered to say goodbye. Many people were crying. They felt that a part of their town's soul was being taken away. Activists and local leaders criticized the authorities for carrying out the transfer with a heavy police presence, which they felt was insensitive to the community's grief. This event left a deep scar on the people of Kolhapur. They felt that their traditions had been disrespected and that their deep emotional bond with an animal had been broken by a cold, legal order. While PETA presented itself as the champion of Madhuri's welfare, the organization faced strong criticism for its role in the case. Many people in Kolhapur, as well as some activists, accused PETA of having ulterior motives. They did not believe that the organization's only goal was to help the elephant. Critics claimed that PETA was working too closely with Vantara. They suggested that PETA was acting like an agent to help the large private facility in Gujarat collect elephants from different parts of the country. This led to accusations of a nexus between the animal rights group, Vantara, and government authorities. The criticism went even further. There were serious allegations that PETA had tried to influence the Jain Math's decision. One politician claimed that PETA had offered the Math a large donation from the Ambani group in exchange for giving up the elephant. The Math itself alleged that PETA had offered to build them a new structure and even provide a mechanical elephant for their rituals if they agreed to let Madhuri go. These claims, whether true or not, created a picture of an organization that was willing to use financial incentives to get what it wanted, which damaged its credibility in the eyes of many. Another major point of criticism was PETA's refusal to consider local solutions. Critics argued that there were other wildlife rescue centers in Maharashtra or nearby states like Karnataka that could have cared for Madhuri. These locations have climates and environments that are more natural for elephants than the hotter, drier region of Jamnagar in Gujarat. The insistence on sending her specifically to Vantara made many people suspicious. They felt that the decision ignored the elephant's well-being in some ways and completely disregarded the strong wishes of the local community, who wanted her to stay closer to home if she had to be moved. Ultimately, PETA is seen by its critics as an organization that interferes with local traditions without understanding them. They are accused of applying a one-size-fits-all approach to animal welfare that clashes with India's diverse cultural and religious practices. In the case of Madhuri, the critics say PETA prioritized a clinical, facility-based approach over a community-based one. While the courts agreed with PETA's assessment of Madhuri's health, the controversy highlights a larger debate: how to balance modern animal welfare standards with the deep, long-standing bonds between animals and people in traditional communities across the country.